Hello, this is Julian with Coffee Reviews, and today we will be doing a special Friday video release. This is going to be a single cup coffee review of Maquina Coffee Roasters Ndimaini Peaberry, wash processed Kenya. And here's a little jar I got the coffee in. So of course there's a backstory behind this coffee, so let's go through that real quick. This coffee, I believe, was a limited run from Maquina Coffee Roasters. They gave this coffee to some people that participated in a survey, and then they had a limited quantity for sale. And a couple of my friends, Zach and Greg from Zach and Greg Like Coffee, both got this coffee, and they were both pretty big fans of this coffee. And I've also heard some other people discussing this coffee as being pretty big fans of this coffee as well. So Zach most notably said that this coffee was rivaling the Lady Bermudas as his favorite coffee of the entire year. So I said to Zach, hey, why don't you just send me 21 grams of this coffee? I'll do a single cup coffee review of this coffee on this channel. And he was nice enough to send me 42 grams of coffee as well as this Blind Tiger coffee mug. So this is going to be a very Pennsylvania forward coffee review. But let's talk about Maquina real quick. They're based out of Coatesville, Pennsylvania. They featured on this channel once before. We reviewed their wash process Rwanda, the Ram Bagheera, earlier this year, which not just finished first place in our blind taste test rankings video, but was a pretty good cup of coffee overall. Still one of my favorite wash Rwandans of the entire year. So I always wanted to go back and review another cup of coffee from Maquina, and this one right here is going to be pretty interesting. So let me go ahead and take my first sip of this coffee. And I think the things I'm going to be looking for most notably in this coffee is that it is a Kenyan. So we're going to see where the savoriness finishes, where the sweetness finishes, and the acidity finishes, as those are probably the three most distinct and notable things. And the cleanliness as well when it comes to Kenyan coffees for me specifically, as I typically tend to enjoy the sweeter coffees, the cleaner coffees, and I like the acidity as well as the savoriness toned down. So I guess we'll just see how this finishes. The recipe I used for this coffee was a 16:1 water to coffee ratio at 93 degrees Celsius, and then the pours after at 90 degrees Celsius. This was the recipe recommended to me by Zach. I believe that the roast date on this coffee is between somewhere day 17 and day 19, especially by the way it brewed, but given how I know from when these people received these coffees, that this is probably going to be the roast date of this coffee right here. So let me go ahead and take one more sip and kind of give you some initial thoughts and impressions. And I did have some initial thoughts and impressions. The first time I got this coffee, I opened the jar and I got the aroma. Definitely smelled like a Kenyan coffee. There was quite a bit of savory components in this coffee. The grounds, even more strong savory components, and then the aroma of the coffee itself. And my first sip, my first impression, there's a pretty strong savory component in this cup of coffee. So I would chart that, ooh, this is kind of tricky. Probably a 3. Could push it up to a 4. I think as the coffee is kind of cooling down and settling a little bit, I'm getting a little bit more of that savory component. I'm probably going to be bumping this one up to a level 4, as not just do you have the pretty strong, well, T word in this cup of coffee, but you also have some pretty strong red fruits, and you have some pretty distinct black tea as well, all pretty savory things that are from this cup of coffee. Let me see where we might chart the other things on this. Sweetness, you know, it's not as sweet as I was hoping it might be. I'm probably going to chart the sweetness at a level 3 and probably about a 2.5, honestly, pushing up to that level 3. I feel like it's just slightly higher on that 2.5 scale. Acidity, pretty high. I feel like this is lighter than a lot of what Maquina typically does, but even then we're probably pushing this up to it's probably about a 3.5. I'll keep it at a 3 for this one specifically. Cleanliness, it's a washed Kenyan. I think 3 is pretty generous. I'm just going to go back, of course, after this video and kind of chart all these things and see after maybe a couple more impressions where I'm going to put all of these. But basically, let me take one more sip and just kind of let you know how this coffee is developing for me. It has all those Kenyan characteristics right off the bat. It's a really lively cup of coffee. There are some soft florals. I don't want to underemphasize the positives of this cup of coffee. And most notably and distinctly, there is that soft floral. There's quite a bit of citrus in this cup of coffee as well. And I think the citrus is pretty pleasant, but even then, it's got this very overly juicy, dominant Kenyan characteristic. A lot of people know that Kenyan coffees tend to be one of my least favorite coffees if they do skew that specific way. The strong acidity, the strong savoriness, and this coffee, unfortunately for me, is kind of skewing in those directions. So this one right here is not going to necessarily be my favorite Kenyan of the year. I did enjoy the one from Bolch a little more, and I did enjoy the Kianjege from Manhattan definitely more than I enjoyed this one, as I think that it's not a surprise that the people that do really enjoy this coffee are people that are very standard Kenyan lovers, the people that do enjoy those strong Kenyan characteristics to their coffee. It's just not necessarily my favorite, but again, I can't thank Zach enough for sharing this coffee with me. I was actually really excited to do this review, and I'm happy I got an opportunity to do this review. Again, very limited edition coffee that so many people did very much enjoy, so thanks to everyone for giving me the opportunity to do this one, and I hope you enjoyed this video. As of course, the Advent calendar is coming up, so I'll be doing more one-cup coffee reviews in the future, and I can be doing more one-cup coffee reviews in the future if you do like this. So yeah, just give this video a like if you did enjoy this video specifically, and if you're enjoying any of the content, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. But this right here has been a review of the Ndimaini Peaberry Wash Processed Kenya from Maquina Coffee Roasters. Thank you for watching.